solve this one, E6A-29. All right, so let's take a look. And we got some other data here. So it says, click here to view this icon, and this is data of the following companies. So they got other companies listed, and they want us to figure out the missing amounts. Okay, so it's really just testing your knowledge of the periodic system as far as it goes with cost of goods sold. The formula. Remember I gave you that formula earlier on where we, let me show it to you. Where we start with beginning inventory, right? And then we're going to add the purchases. So what they're adding here, they're calling it the net cost of purchases. Okay. Then what you end up doing is you're going to have a subtotal. A lot of times we call that subtotal cost of goods available for sale. Then you subtract the ending inventory, and that gives you your cost of goods sold. So you kind of have a skeleton here of what we're trying to do. Okay, and then if you took your sales revenue and you subtract your cost of goods sold from that, that's going to give you your gross profit. Okay, so it might align like this, and then if we had numbers in there, the numbers would probably sit like this. We'll just give you an idea of where those numbers go before we actually use this format to solve, right? We want to use this structure to solve for the missing pieces. So you would, then of course you're going to be subtracting the ending inventory, and that's going to get you down to cost of goods sold, but that cost of goods sold would sit out here, and I'm going to put them in parentheses just because I subtract cost of goods sold from my sales revenue to get down to my gross profit. So you need to know how this works, the dynamic of it, in order to solve a problem like this over here, because this is just the same thing laid out horizontally, right? And it skips on putting in subtotals like cost of goods available for sale, but mathematically, if you know how this works, then you should be able to solve for the missing piece. So I'm going to use this. Let's see here. And I'll just put my numbers out here, and I can use this structure to solve for the missing piece. And we'll make this a little smaller so I can fit these guys in. Okay. So take that color out of there. No fill. I can bring it all the way over here. Okay. So the first one, Banana Company, they tell me what my sales revenue is. They tell me that my sales revenue is 104,000. They tell me what beginning inventory is, 20,000. They tell me what my purchases are, 65,000. And they tell me what my ending inventory is, 18,000. Yeah. And then they give me my gross profit of 37,000. Okay. So really, what's missing is cost of goods sold. Right? And I think I have enough right here, right, to solve for cost of goods sold, because all I really need to know is my beginning inventory, what I purchased, and my ending inventory, and that gives me cost of goods sold. Well, if I take my beginning plus what I purchased, that'll be 85,000. Okay, and if I subtract 18,000 from 85,000, I get 67,000. Okay. There was a quicker way to do it, right? Let's undo that. And we'll do it the quicker way. Well, I know that my sales revenue minus my cost of goods sold will give me my gross profit. Okay. So technically you could move that around. You could say sales revenue minus gross profit should give me cost of goods sold. Okay. So let's try that. I'll take my sales revenue minus my gross profit, and I get the same 67,000. Okay. Everybody see that? So it's really knowing this formula, if you want to call it a formula, inside and out enough to where you can identify that missing piece. So let's drop 67,000 in here and see how we fare. Nice work. I don't even think we need this table up. This is just showing you what's being repeated over here. So I'll take this table away. Then maybe we can actually work them side by side like this. Okay. So that was banana. We just did banana. We call it banana. Okay. Now we're going to do cherry. So I'll take out my numbers here, and I'm going to do cherry. Okay, so for cherry, they do not give me the sales revenue. That's one thing I'm solving for. They give me the beginning inventory of 26,000. They give me the purchases of 91,000. They do not give me the ending inventory, but they give me cost of goods sold. And right, we're offsetting it because we need to subtract that from revenue to get to gross profit. Okay. And they also give me the gross profit, which is 40,000. Okay. So I'm taking from cherry here all the numbers, right? And this is how it aligns. Okay, so first of all, we can figure out what sales revenue is real easily because we know that sales revenue minus cost of goods sold gives me gross profit. So all I really have to do is add my gross profit back to my cost of goods sold, or add my cost of goods sold and gross profit, and that should give me my sales revenue of 130,000. Okay. So I could put 130,000 in over here. All right. Now I only really have one missing piece. Remember that when we do the formula, when we do this on our income statement, we always put this subtotal in. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what my cost of goods available for sale is. 117,000. Okay. So now I'm really only solving for ending inventory. So if you remember, cost of goods available for sale, the 117 minus ending inventory will give me cost of goods sold. Okay, so really what I can do is I can go cost of goods available for sale minus cost of goods sold. That should give me the difference, which is going to be the ending inventory. All right, and then you could test it. You could say, is 117 minus 27,090? Yes, it works out. Okay. And that's the same for this here. You might want to say, I mean, the math's simple enough, but you might want to double check it. 130 minus 90 is 40. Okay, so I think we've figured our two missing pieces, which is sales revenue and ending inventory. So we could plug that in. I already put in the sales revenue, so 27,000 ending inventory. Got nice work again. Okay, so that was cherry. Now we will do apple, right? Apple. They named all of these companies after fruits. Okay, so you got Apple here. With Apple, they give us the sales revenue. Okay, they do not give us the beginning inventory. But they give us the purchases, 58,000. they give us the ending inventory, which is 21,000. They give us cost of goods sold, which is 63,000. Okay. So I'm supposed to be solving for the missing pieces. I need to figure out what my beginning inventory is and what my gross profit is. Okay. Gross profit's really easy because we know that sales revenue minus cost of goods sold gives us gross profit. So we can simply take care of that one right away. 27,000. That's gross profit. Okay. Then we need to figure out what beginning inventory is. Okay. So we know that cost of goods available for sale minus ending inventory gives me cost of goods sold. Okay. So when I take whatever this subtotal would have been minus my ending inventory, that gives me the cost of goods sold. So really, our cost of goods available for sale would be the cost of goods sold plus the ending inventory. Okay, so if I add 21,000 and 63,000, I will have 84,000. Okay. So once I know my cost of goods available for sale, we know that according to this formula, cost of goods available for sale is the beginning inventory plus the purchases. Okay. So really, it's anything plus 58 to get up to the 84. That's what we're looking for, right? So what you would need to do is basically just subtract 58,000 from 84,000. That's 26,000. So your beginning inventory would be 26,000. Then you might want to go back and check through the math. So you could add these two, make sure it's 84, then subtract 21 from 84, make sure it's 63, and then again subtract the 63 from 90,000 and make sure it's 27. Okay. So we solve for beginning inventory 26,000, and you can click check answer, and it says excellent. Okay. So this is a practice, so you get really familiar with this, because this never really goes away. This cost of goods thing, cost of goods sold methodology is always there throughout your accounting career. So you really want to get a good strong handle on how that works. Okay, now we're doing pair. The next company is pair. Solving for the unknowns again. Pair, they tell us what net sales revenue is. So net sales revenue is 83,000. Beginning inventory is 12,000. We don't know what the purchases are, but we know what ending inventory is. Okay. We don't know what cost of goods sold is, but we know what gross profit is. Okay, so gross profit is 46,000. So this one we can truly work backwards, right? Because I know that sales revenue minus cost of goods sold gives me my gross profit. Okay. So really, my cost of goods sold is going to end up being sales revenue minus gross profit. You can see what I'm doing. Let me longhand that for you, right? So if we say sales revenue minus cost of goods sold equals gross profit, right? Then cost of goods sold, if we did it algebraically, cost of goods sold would equal gross profit minus, would equal sales revenue minus gross profit, right? Because we would need to move, we'd need to move gross profit to this side of the equation. Well, you know, combine it with sales revenue. So when we move gross profit over, we're subtracting it from sales revenue. And then when we isolate cost of goods sold on one side, we move it to the right over here. It's going to make it positive, and that will do the same thing. Then we can flip-flop the equation this way. Okay, so really up here, all I really have to do is subtract my, and I'm not doing it in the right space. I'll put it on the cost of goods sold line. I'm going to subtract my gross profit from my sales revenue. That should give me my cost of goods sold, 37,000. And you could double check it. You could say sales revenue minus cost of goods sold comes up to the same gross profit. Okay. Now, I know that this kind of goes back to the last one we did, right? I know that my cost of goods available for sale, right, is my beginning inventory plus my net purchases. Right? But it's also tied into cost of goods sold, because when I take my cost of goods available for sale and I subtract my ending inventory, I get my cost of goods sold. Okay? So all I really need to do now to get back up to cost of goods available for sale is add the ending inventory to the cost of goods sold. Okay? So we would end up with 44,000. All right. So cost of goods sold, cost of goods available for sale is 44,000, and we know that it's made up of these two, and we know not half of it, but we know the first piece of it, 12,000. So the remaining amount, which is 44,000 minus 12,000, should give you your net purchases. Okay? And then of course I would go through and double check it. So 12,000 plus 32 should be 44. Okay, 44 minus 7 should be 37. And 83 minus 37 should be 46. I'm looking down here. When I highlight them, it shows my, you see that 46,000 down here, really low. If I slide this up, you can see it right there. Okay, so that's one way to double check it without having to type a whole formula in. So my net cost of purchases will be 32,000. My cost of goods sold is 37,000. Okay. Now what do they want me to do? Prepare the income statement for the year ended December 31st, 2015 for Banana Company, which uses the periodic inventory system. Include a complete heading and show the full computation of cost of goods sold. Banana's operating expenses for the year were 12,000. It's really just taking this data from Banana here and putting it into an income statement format. So let's see, it's for the year ended December 31st, 2015. We headed up with the company's name, Banana Company. Is that the only type of banana? Yeah, Banana Company. And it's going to be income statement for the year ended December 31st, 2015. And then we start with sales revenue. So net sales revenue is 104,000. Then we're basically going to put this formula thing that I have here, and what they have kind of running horizontally, we're going to put it in here. So our beginning inventory was, make sure we're getting the right number, 20,000. Okay. The net purchases were 65,000. And then net beginning inventory plus net purchases, that gives you my cost of goods available for sale. That's going to be 85,000. Okay. Then we're going to subtract ending merchandise inventory, which is 18,000. So you can put the 18,000 over here. Ending merchandise inventory. I'm not sure whether, they may want you to show it as a negative. We can put it in like that. It might not be necessary though. Okay. And then when we subtract ending merchandise inventory from the cost of goods available for sale, we will have our cost of goods sold. Okay. So we already have that number here, 67,000. And then when we subtract cost of goods sold from sales revenue, we get gross profit. Alright? So let's see. I won't redo the math. I'm just going to take the 37,000 and put it over here. Now they tell me that my operating expenses for the year were 12,000. So that's where we're going to use that 12,000 down here. I'm sorry, 12,000. Okay. That would be my operating expenses. And then if you subtract 12,000 from 37,000, and I'm not making this one negative. Maybe I need to, but I don't think so. Not in a real format. And that's the same over here, but probably won't mark us wrong. We're going to get 25,000. And we can hit check answer. And we get excellent. Okay.